All eyes today on Capitol Hill, where a top secret security official is set to testify about President Trump's call with the Ukrainian president. This as House Democrats set a vote for impeachment, the inquiry, perhaps on Thursday. Here with reaction, GOP Senator Marco Rubio. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I know this impeachment inquiry is going on in the House. From where you sit across the rotunda, what do you make of what's going on over there?
Not a lot. I think a lot of it is politics, obviously. Look, you have so here, they're calling people in every day to testify. Before they even testify, they make sure the press gets their written statement. And then afterwards, they leak out snippets of what was said. You don't get to hear the cross-examination. So it really strikes me as a political exercise, almost like an opposition dump. Every single day, they're just leaking out damaging information into the public narrative without any of the counter-narrative. But all that will have to come to an end at some point. And what we shouldn't forget is two things. Impeachment's a really big deal. Removing the president of the United States is not just an extraordinary measure. It's really bad for the country. It's traumatic. And number two is you got, I don't know what the percentage is, but a significant number of members of the House that have been looking to impeach this president, some of them before he was even sworn in. So you start to lose some credibility when you made up your mind about this back in November of 2016 because you didn't like the result of the election.
Yeah. Senator, when you're out and about, and the people down in Florida see you and they say, hey, what the heck's going on in Congress? You guys aren't getting anything done.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem, right? So I wonder how many of these House members were elected to do this, because I assure you that they were elected. Even the ones that ran in 2018 and got elected, the Democrats in the seats that Trump won, nobody sent them up there to go impeach Donald Trump. They sent them here to deal with drug prices, to deal with China, to help our economy continue to grow, to fund our military. They won't even pass, an appropriations bill that we need to get done, which is really important for long-term planning. Very few people, unless you come from the most radical fringes of the American political spectrum, were sent up here to spend all of their time every single day focused on this issue. They're going to do what they're going to do. I can't control what the House does, but we're going to continue to do our job, or at least try to, over here in the Senate.
Well, Speaker Pelosi is going to make some of, close to 3 dozen of her Democratic members who live in the toss-up districts to take a really hard vote that could come back to haunt them next November.
Yeah, again, people are going to have to go back home and answer, what did you do the 2 years that you were up there? Well, I said nasty things about the president, and I voted to impeach him. Well, what did you do on issues like the jobs, the economy, the threat posed by China, funding our military, the cost of prescription drugs? Oh, well, we were too busy with the other things to do that. That's the answer some of them are going to have to give. But look, we're going to do our job here in the Senate. We'll make a decision if it comes to us based on facts and on what's in the best interest of our country. And we're going to keep in mind that we're going to be less than a year away from an election. We're voters, not 535 people. Voters get to decide what the future of America should be.
Well put. All right. Meanwhile, new details about the raid over the weekend that killed Baghdadi. It sounds like his number 2 person and his spokesman was also killed in an airstrike. As you look at the coverage of this particular, obviously he was the world's #1 terrorist, and it's great that he is out of the picture now. What do you make of the reaction to it?
I think some of it is par for the course. It's what's to be expected, and people see it. Let me tell you something. Real people notice that stuff, okay? They notice sort of the tone and the coverage is different from what it would have been for somebody else. The most egregious example is that Washington Post obituary, you know? But I guess that's like saying, heir to construction empire killed in Navy SEAL home invasion, when they killed bin Laden or something. So it's some of it is silliness, but it's revealing to a lot of people. For a lot of people, it sort of confirms what they already believe, and that is that there are elements in the mainstream press that don't just dislike Donald Trump. They really hate him, but they've really been unfair. They called George W. Bush a war criminal. They tortured Mitt Romney when he was the nominee, said horrible things about him, and now, of course, some have changed their tune, at least for the time being. Many of these people, these commentators, these blue check brigade guys, these keyboard cowboys, they are not interested in principle or Republicans standing for the Constitution. What they want Republicans to do is to pour kerosene, light a match, burn ourselves up politically so they can replace us with someone further to the left. That's what a lot of these commentators want.
You would think that given how reviled Baghdadi was around the world for worldwide violence, that his demise would be celebrated. But you're right, because there are some people who simply cannot give the president a win. And this is a bipartisan win, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, let me tell you, al-Baghdadi wasn't just a terror leader. This guy was a degenerate. This guy was a sociopath. He was a rapist. He was a guy that held the people in prison. He had people executed. We have someone whose family's from Florida, a reporter, that was beheaded and killed by them on one of these videos. We forget this guy was a horrible, awful human being.
Right.
And I actually think he had too much mercy on his death, and despite the nature of that raid. This was a terrible person. This is not going to crush ISIS. You know, unfortunately, ISIS has spread into these franchises all over the world, but it's certainly going to hurt their recruitment efforts. And I'm glad the president's putting out details about how this coward died. So before people think about joining these brave guys, they realize their leader actually wasn't that brave at all.
All right. I'm Marco Rubio, joining us today from the Russell Rotunda, Capitol Hill. Sir, thank you very much.
Thank you.